Ladies and gentlemen, I'm YamatoCannon coming at you with some first impressions of the mid-season 2017. It's supposed to be centered around tanks that everyone finds boring and when they get fed, obnoxious. They just run at you and they have enough damage to kill you, but those are in the extreme scenarios when they are fed. Personally, I think tanks are pretty fair. I think Sure. There's a problem with the idea that LCK has a region or like the best region in the world is just playing tanks over and over, and of course the addition of Rumble. But I think there are still ways to play around it. They are weak in lane sometimes, and you can still pressure it. But of course, as the game scales on, and if a tank is not punished, then of course tanks are obnoxious. But let's just get into it right away. Mid-season 2017. We've reached the halfway point of the 2017 season. Now's the time to look back on the past 6 months of league and pave the way for what's coming next. Early season retrospective. We set out in preseason to make assassins fairer to play against, siphoning some of their insta-burst strength into skills such as mobility and target selection. Rengar and LeBlanc posed special challenges we're still working through, but for much of the roster, their mid and late game impact is no longer dictated solely by a few early kills or deaths. Itemized, some of our lethality changes launched weaker than anticipated, but when we followed up with buffs to all lethality items, their users dominated the meta. We've since found a sustainable middle ground. Then there's the jungle. We updated the smite and the monster camp so junglers could choose a clearing path that matches their playstyle, single target versus AoE. I don't know about that one. It's all about just killing raptors. Yeah. This gave the jungle role too much early game influence, but we've since dialed these adjustments back and are happy with where things have settled. Well, jungles are broken, man. Jungle is such a broken role. You could just out CS everyone and just one-shot people with Kha'Zix, Rengar, and even Graves. Preseason also introduced plans to the jungle, and after some quick usability improvements, they've become a regular element of Summon's Rift gameplay. With a small adjustment to Honeyfoot spawn time and place, plans are offering dynamic moments in the jungle without overly warping matches. Well, that's true. Like I thought these plans would be like completely annoying. I was at the point where I was testing out with these vision plants, these scrying plants, and wanted to create strategies around them. But personally, I think it's kind of sad that they have random spawn times. I think like the first spawn is for like 4 to 4:30 minutes, and then the next one spawns in about like 7 minutes, and then it's pretty random on which quadrant. Like a quadrant is 1/4 of the map, and I don't like the randomness of the plants. I think if they were structured and had like a specific spawn time after they've been used, because everyone can just keep track of the spawn time. I think it would be something that would be a focus in competitive play, or it is already, but even more of a focus because it's really useful, right? It's pretty much a clean sweep if you can make use of it at the right time. Beyond preseason, League's roster has gained some new and updated phases. Warwick and Gaia got makeovers, Camille dove onto the Rift, and Zaya, do you pronounce it Zaya? Zaya and Rakan will soon mark our first true dual champion release. We've also shipped smaller ability updates to Alisa, Shyvana, Aatrox, and Cho'Gath, creating smoother experience and healthier gameplay. I think Alistar sucks now. I have no idea what they've been doing to Shyvana. Like I think I've seen in past notes that they changed, tweak her numbers to kill jungle camps here and there, but who cares? Aatrox, his passive is complete garbage now. Like I think it's way too strange, and these changes to Aatrox, I don't really like them. Cho'Gath, I've been thinking if Cho'Gath deserves to have a place in the meta. There was a time where he was pretty good, where people played it during the Vladimir Cassiopeia meta. I think it was back in season 5. Vladimir Cassiopeia meta, Cho'Gath's still fine, right? He has one-to-one scaling on Q and W, I think, if I remember correctly, and he's one of the few champions that still has a silence. I think he has a place, right? I think he can do good into some champions, but and not into the majors that people are playing, like Orianna, and I think Syndra should smash him as well. Creating smoother experiences and healthier gameplay. Okay, Warwick is Oric is fun. Galio, I haven't seen too much Galio because, all competitive people are stuck at 7.6, and 7.6 is the patch where everything's at, and Galio is not a part of that. But I think the first thing that I saw when it came to Galio was that his numbers were pretty busted, but I think his passive has been nerfed by then, and that's pretty neat. Last topic, marksman with junglers, assassin, and tanks. Courage of the Colossus, all coming to the fore. What the hell does fore mean? Forehead. Marksmen have struggled through the roughest meta they've faced in ages. We tackled these factors individually by reducing early jungle pressure, reining in assassins and lethality, and narrowing Colossus' focus. Toss in a few targeted improvements like the Walrus Bloodlust update, and we're finally emerging from the woods. Well, to be honest, I think AD carries are in a pretty healthy state right now. Like, considering the play rate of a lot of champions have been coming in. We see Lucian, Reckless with his cannon, uh, us losing with our cannon, or I shouldn't say us anymore. Splice losing with with cannon. I guess it was us at the time. I need to get used to that. And also a bunch of Varus. We saw Twitch as well, Reckless once again, and Ash. I think Jin also saw some play over from UL's side. So I think AD carries are in a pretty neat spot. I think it's pretty good. With the first half of 2007 in the rear view mirror, what's in the store this mid-season? We're giving Sejuani, Zac, and Maokai new abilities to master, carving out unique identities for them among the teamfight initiation crowd. Alright. Sejuani, Bacon. Sejuani is becoming a true barbarian war leader. Once the Winter's Wrath charges into battle, Frosty strikes from her warband leave enemies vulnerable. Vulnerable? Vulnerable. Vulnerable. Whatever. To permafrost targeted lockdown. Goes in direction. Should we read that? Nah. Let's just check this out. After not taking damage for a brief period, Sejuani becomes immune to slows and gains bonus resistances. Frost armor lingers briefly after taking damage. Frost armor refreshes faster with Sejuani's movement. I guess this. I wonder how long these resistances last. Oh shit, this is loud. I wonder how long these resistances last because it matters for jungle clear, right? Like armor is super important, and I doubt it is for a long time, and I doubt it's that big that it would matter. Sure it matters. Any armor matters. Q. Okay. The giant charges forward, damaging non-hero enemies in the path. The charge stops on the first enemy champion large monster hit. I think that's exactly the same, right? Yeah. W. Winter's Wrath. Oh. The giant swings her mace in front of her, then slides down in line. Both swings deal damage and apply frost. What the hell is frost? It's just a slower. Okay. So it's like a cleave and then a smack. Alright. I guess that's pretty neat for jungle as well. Permafrost. New. This one's that. New, okay. Sejuani's basic attacks apply frost on champions and large monsters. Nearby allied melee champions also gain this effect. Nearby. Okay. What does this mean? Nearby allied champions also gain this. Do we freeze them or do they apply it? Oh, okay. I guess melee champions also apply it. So it's like Braum. Whoa. Okay, so melee champions apply it, not range champions, so I guess that's the difference with Braum. It looks pretty, I guess it's fine. I wonder how it works with like Kale. Well, I guess Kale counts as range champion if she activates E. Sejuani damages stuns and freezes target with enemy with max frost attack. Sejuani's first attack or ability against frozen enemy deals a portion of the maximum health as damage. I guess that's pretty neat. I guess like with this applying 2 stacks, this shouldn't be too hard to hit it, especially with Q. Like you Q auto. I'm assuming this frost slows. Does it slow? Could you move around, Ash? I see some frost popping out of the. I don't know if it slows or not. The range seems pretty good too. Guess like Sejuani gank it up could be pretty lethal because already here, like at level 3, she has a low CC. I think it really depends on how healthy her clear is with the armor going on in here. I think it could be pretty neat in the jungle. Of course, everything relies on numbers, so maybe this preview is completely useless because I might be completely wrong. Alright. Sejuani throws her true ice bola, which damages, stuns, and freezes the first champion hit based on distance traveled. Long-range bolas leave behind an ice storm that slows enemies erupting after a brief delay to damage and massively slow enemies except the original target. So it's like, so it's a ranged Lissandra ultimate. That's what it is. It's a ranged Lissandra ultimate. I want to see like the projectile speed because that's important. Like depends on how. Did the hitbox become bigger at the end, or am I just seeing it wrong? Because it's like it looked like it grew to a big ass bola around here. I might be completely wrong. But it seems like a ranged Lissandra ultimate. Doesn't seem too hard to land. It depends on the hitbox, but looking at the range indicator, it looks pretty big. It looks pretty massive, yeah. And the projectile speed seems pretty neat too, so seems okay. Like range Lissandra ult, I'm even thinking if the old Sejuani ult was better, but maybe if she had too much CC it would be a bit obnoxious. Something that I'm curious about as well is like after you apply your stacks, how long can they not get stacked for? This matters too, right? I think that's about fine. I think I'm only seeing her in the jungle. I think that's what I imagine her going. We continue. I don't care about skins. Zac, secret weapon. Guma is getting even gooier, stretching strikes, grabs enemies and knocks them together while Let's Bounce carries enemies along for Zac's wild ride. Okay. Man, there's so many champions that teleport out. Okay. Cell Division. Each time Zac's abilities hit an enemy, we know this. Okay. Q. Stretching strikes, that's new. Zac's arm stretches and grabs the first enemy it hits, damaging and slowing them. Zac's next basic attack gains bonus range, and if Zac attacks a different enemy, he'll throw both targets toward each other, dealing damage in an area if they collide. What? That sounds insane, man. Holy shit. Man, can they show us like a better example, man? I want to see if like Ezreal's over here and Shyvana's on the other side and if he like stretches out like this and he just boom like that, or how it functions, you know? Or does it work like a LeBlanc chain? Like what is the range? Like how does it interact? I'm assuming that they will meet somewhere in the middle. I think you could do insane things with this, but I imagine a scenario where you want to get the maximum value out of this, where you lash onto someone and you want to pull him the maximum distance. That means like you need to, like let's say Shyvana is at the 3 o'clock position here and Ezreal's is at the 6 o'clock position, or not 6 o'clock, I guess it becomes 9 o'clock position over here. Like it becomes easier for him to run away, right? Because the radius should be a circle. But that's what I'm really curious about, right? Like this seems to work like a LeBlanc chain, and it seems like a neat ability. Pretty OP if it works like a LeBlanc chain, I believe. W, meh, boring. That's 16 shots. I wonder if this has the same range as the 4 on max ranks. Let's bounce. What the hell? These are enemies, man. Zac squishes himself into a puddle and charges, becoming immune to crowd control and slowing enemies that stand on him. Reactivating Let's Bounce without fully charging causes Zac to reform, knocking back nearby enemies. If Zac charges for at least a second, he sucks up enemies above him and carries them toward the target location, damaging enemies in the area upon landing. Like, how hard is this ability to use? Like I want to see it in action, right? Like what happens if people are actually moving around? Is it hard as fuck to hit, or is it like can you can you like E into R without problems? That matters too. But in general, a mechanic like this kind of depends on the charge time, how reliable it is. But the mechanic can can be used for a lot, that's for sure. I'm even considering if Zach support would be viable, considering he basically has a super good Q. The E is pretty OP as well, and this is pretty good too. But I don't know. I feel like if you have to place this guy in the jungle, like I think if he has this much CC with the Q, I think his damage numbers are going to be lower, right? Like Zac in top lane, if I remember correctly, people maxed Q and that was used for easy trading and W as well, and that was the way Zac functioned up top. And Zac in the jungle, it really depends on the other junglers. I think it applies to Sejuani as well. Like if all these 80 junglers are still in the game and Lee Sin is in the game and Elise is in the game, but like these junglers are never gonna be viable. And I think this kit in top lane is not gonna work out either. I guess that could be said for Sejuani as well. All right, next one up, Maokai. Okay, I think like this mechanic right here. I don't know. I was first thinking if like I remember the first time I saw the Rise ultimate, and I was like super excited that with this ultimate you'll be able to do so much with it, and you'll be able to do like immense amount of shit with it. And to be honest, I don't get the same vibe from this ultimate. It feels like it's going to be very hard to execute. I imagine applications being like in barren areas or something where you just throw people away, or uh, I'm thinking, in the best case scenario, maybe you throw like a bunch of people into your team, and that seems incredibly hard as well because I think the enemies can also manipulate it. Where if, let's say, Kog'Maw right here flashes or rocks out, and Warwick gets thrown into your team, and all of a sudden it's a bad situation, right? Because isn't really like a man. So this isn't some Zac jump. He just pretty much popped them away. But I'm also curious if, like, before Zac charges completely, if he can throw them before, if they're in his hitbox circle, because that matters too. Maokai. Maokai is getting back in touch with his roots as a back with his roots. Is serious? As a vengeful nature spirit by summoning a giant wall of roots to snare his enemies. Sap magic. Maokai is basically blah blah blah. We know that. Bramble Smasher. We know that too, I guess. I'll just look for what's new. What the hell? Alright, you can just buy Mobies and run away from Maokai or what? Man, this is so slow, man. They made Maokai used to be a Ferrari, but now he's like a Prius. Alright, that's strange. This should say new, right? Slow down a bunch. Now when you're playing AD carry, you can just walk away from him. E. Sapling toss. Maokai flings his sapling to stand watch over an area for the watch. Saplings chase thereby enemies exploding if they come in contact, slowing everything hit. Sapling placed in brush. Isn't it saplings placed in a brush last longer and deal additional damage over time? So it's like you're supposed to just make Maokai bombs. Maokai is what the hell? He just popped a few times. Is this for Maokai jungle or what? Like the only application I see is this is for Maokai jungle, no? Like sure you can throw some saplings in lane and place some like Timo mushrooms, but who really cares about that? Is this are these all jungle changes? Like Amumu getting buffed and Maokai getting a jungle buff, I would say. I guess Maybe they're gonna buff, what's this item called? Cinder Hulk, like a Momogot buff as well. I guess we will have Cinder Hulk meta because that was a lot more enjoyable than getting one-shotted by jungler meta. Alright, because I remember Cinder Hulk meta being really boring, you know. Oh, he has Cinder Hulk, I can't kill him. Sad. Oh, he has Ninja Tabi as well now. Yeah, I guess I need 4 items. Yeah. Nature's Grasp. Holy shit. That's intense. Maokai summons a colossal wall of brambles and thorns that advances forward, rooting enemies struck. Root duration increases the farther the wall travels. Holy shit, this is like Nami. Yeah, this is Nami. It seems like it picks up. Does it pick up pace? It doesn't seem like it picks up pace as it goes. It seems pretty neat. Like it controls a pretty big area, right? Like let's say this doesn't hit people. You have to like it's pretty easy to walk away from, but the fact that you have to walk away from this big zone means a lot. This is a big ass area, so this ultimate is really powerful. Like this ultimate is really fucking good. Like you can also do things like imagine like let's League of Legends map. Let's look at this. Okay, so let's oh what the hell? So let's imagine enemies are running away from here. You can just fucking do the wall over here. You zone off a big area, and all of a sudden you win some time. But I guess it doesn't really work like. Nah, I guess you can just walk past it when it passes. But yeah, you can still use it as a tool like that for sure. All right, let's get back to it. Yeah, this ultimate is pretty good. Like this ultimate is a lot worse for top lane though. Like this is for sure a big nerf for Maokai top lane. Like his lane is gonna be a lot worse, that's for sure. Like unless his numbers on this are incredibly skewed, but like his ultimate was really good for laning because you could the low downtime of it is always pretty good. I'm thinking he's going to be weaker in lane. And I feel like all these changes for these 3 tanks is in preparation for jungle. And I have this feeling that all assassin junglers are going to get completely gutted. Okay, I feel like I'm talking for a very long time. I got 23 minutes already. Alright, let's go down. New options. We're plugging some holes in our defensive itemization lineup with 2 new additions. Gargoyle Stoneplate. Gargoyle Stoneplate. This one's for the team fighters. Yeah, I hate things like this. 3+ enemy champions and nearby. Whoa. Chambers and Negatron Cloak. If 3+ enemy champions are nearby, gain bonus resistances. Temporarily gain health and size, but deal reduced damage. If Stone Skin is active, the health increase is massively boosted. Now this is nice, right? You survive longer, but you deal less damage. But usually in cases where you are looking to kill people with donks, you don't really need to survive, if that makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense. Never mind. I think I like this. You know, it avoids the situation where um, the people that are not supposed to buy it abuse it, right? 3+ enemy champions are nearby, gain bonuses. I think this is an item that would scale well into the game, right? This would be like a 3rd item after Sunfire Cape and maybe a Spirit Visage, depending on who you lane against or whatever. And a lot of tanks reach a point where they won't win in split, and they just look to be useful in team fights. Like if you're playing, let's say Maokai against, let's say Fiora, early on you can lane, and then at one point Fiora is just gonna shit on you with her 2 damage. And when you reach that point, you're just looking to be useful in team fights, look for TPs, look for moments where you can push out and group a mid and get pressure through that. And in those cases, this item has applications because, of course, there are champions that thrive in these scenarios. And even then, like maybe, like I don't think these the champions that want to be split up and want to look for skirmishes and look for split push and don't necessarily like team fights, like let's say Fiora, I don't think this is going to be a good buy. It's not going to compensate for that. I really doubt it. Okay, Adaptive Helm for the tank who's sick of being hit with the same spell again and again. Spectre's Cowl and Null Magic Mantle. Wait. Okay. Health magic reduces base health regen cooldown reduction. Taking magic damage from a spell reduces subsequent magic damage taken with that spell within a brief window. So how brief is this window? Like that matters, right? Like I'm assuming this is like Cassiopeia window or is it like big enough for a Rise window? I guess Rise combo involves a lot of Qs. So I guess that has applications there. Cassiopeia probably. I'm thinking if I'm thinking if this is going to be really good against damage over time things. Like since let's say Cassiopeia Qs someone, it's the same spell dealing damage within this brief window that they're talking about. I think this is the ultimate Cassiopeia counter item. I think this should be good against Rise as well. Uh, I guess it should be good. Like usually, usually the AP carries that are good at killing tanks are the ones that have like that just play the champ by just you know keyboard smashing. I guess that would be good. Yeah, this item has application for sure. Uh, I just for sure I can imagine it. Next up, same passive, sharper edges. Oh man, can you stop clicking? Longsword, pickaxe, cloth armor. So this should have around like what is it, 40 80 maybe 40 80 cloth armor. Upon taking lethal damage, revive with a portion of base health and mana after a delay. I think this is an item that can become very obnoxious. Like depending on how much the recipe cost will be, I'm assuming it will be the same, which is like 1200, I assume. Uh, I feel like this item could be something that could be very snowballing. This could be very snowball. If you have a Talon, rush second item, Guardian Angel, because he's fed as fuck, then you're gonna have a bad time. Like, it's gonna be rough for sure. Because yeah, I imagine this being snowballing. For ADs, on the other hand, sure, I think having Guardian Angel as a good option matters, but I don't know how much the AD changes that. Okay, well, it really depends how much AD it is as well. Okay, let's fashion over also adjusting a bunch of existing durability items. Several will trade a bit of health for extra resistances, others will see tune-ups to their unique effects. Full details to come in the patch notes. Okay, I don't think we need to read this. Team contributions. Doing what's best for your team often means sacrificing personal glory, especially if you're not a damage dealer. We're adding new rewards for supports who've mastered the laning playstyles and amping up the recognition any non-carry gets for the plays that help lead their team to victory. Yay! Ancient, like, man, supports are so broken, man. They just do the most damage, man, with Sarah Brand, and then they just one-shot you with Malzahar Ultimate. You have to buy QSS, man. I thought supports are in a good place. I guess change is good. Ancient Coin, Relic Shield, and Spell Thief's Edge now offer quests. By making a sufficient use of your item's passive, Favor, Spoils of War, and Tribute, you'll evolve it, getting a powerful new effect. Wait, what are the quests? What are the quests? Well, I think I already read about this in some thread or some shit. Borrow a skill point from your future self. Like usually supports. I'm looking at this, and usually supports that are good supports. They are good because they aren't really reliant on skill points. I feel like a scenario where skill points would be useful are in lane phase because having a level advantage or whatever is super good. Later down the line, like who really cares? Like who's ever said that? Oh, in this game the enemy support is level 10 and I'm level 9. This is why they're winning the game. Or sure, it's just a quest, so it shouldn't be the reason why you win a game. But I'm just thinking, like, it's not nothing too fancy. I'm not getting excited. And I remember that um, how you finish this quest is pretty much you you have to pick up these coins like trash souls in lane. And then I'm thinking, the people that like buying ancient coin, the reason they are buying ancient coin is because they are pussies, right? They are Sorakas and they're Janna players that sit in the back and just wait for late game, right? So this ancient coin has always been the item where you're like, oh, I don't want to actively do anything. I want to binge watch suits while I'm playing this game. So you buy ancient coin for some income. So I'm thinking, if you have to walk up and pick up a bunch of shit for this, I don't know, Kevin. That kind of counteracts when you would buy it, right? So, okay. Relic Shield line. Get another shield from your shield. Quest reward. Gain a shield that regenerates while out of combat. Proccing Explosive War makes the shield regenerate faster. Okay. Like how big of a shield and how much does it regenerate? Like I'm assuming it doesn't matter. Like people still buy this on Braum and Trash because you have to, right? These other two items are going to be complete garbage for you. So this won't change. I don't think. I don't think this will change anything. It really depends on the size of the shield. Maybe it's so strong that all these melee supports will be absolutely bonkers after this, Because if this regenerates slightly fast, then you can like deny an auto attack every now and then, and it matters, right? It matters a lot. Okay, Spell Thieves Edge line. Sounds like it's like a Kanye West clothing line or something, line. Move faster when you poke people. Quest reward. Tribute procs grant a burst of movement speed. Now this is cool. Like there are some scenarios where it matters, right? Like imagine you're playing Karma and you're Wing someone and you want to walk faster, jump higher, then this is the item of choice. I think Ancient Coin will still be completely garbage and people will still buy the Spell Thieves Edge and Relic Shield. So I feel like this entire part what I've just read is completely useless because I don't think this is going to change items at all. I'm curious to see if this tribute proc stacks. If it stacks, like some mages, they just fucking proc them right away, right? Like Brand, you just set someone on fire. Like this could be cool, right? Cool. Uh, like in a sense where it works kind of like Storm Rage's Surge. That could be pretty neat because you don't need to do enough damage to proc it, and let's say you're playing Brand, you EWQ and you want to get out of there, then you just peace out. This could be pretty neat. I think this one is the one that I'm the most excited about. If this shield is super strong, then this is going to be broken as well. But coin is really boring. Contribution clarity. League's not the best at recognizing accomplishments that don't involve killing people. That makes it hard for non-carries to get the recognition they deserve. We're giving these groups better ways to track and celebrate their successes. Oh no. We're adding new stats to the end of the game screen, giving everyone from supports to split pushes to tanks new ways to measure the team contributions. Damage mitigated on self, damage to towers, vision score, crowd control score. Oh, I can see it coming already. Look at my crowd control score. What did you do this game? Look at my crowd control score. Look for more stats to crop up down the road, such as team healing, team shielding, and deaths prevented. I wonder how pretty impressive if they have like deaths prevented as a statistic. Pretty cool. Health bars and kill callouts make it easy to track the impact of your damage in real time. We're expanding similar clarity to summon spells, items, and crowd control with clearer particles to highlight those plays. What? In addition, the updated icons crowd control effects are now written out above champion health bars. I need to drink. I really need to drink. Death visuals are now team colored, making it easier to track the body count out as fights unfold. Cool, man. Item impact tracking. Ooh, cool. Rift Herald. Man, he was just waiting for me to scroll down. Rift Herald now drops the Herald's Eye item when defeated. Use the eye before it expires to bring Rift Herald back as a structure smashing siege engine. So I was watching a video earlier about how OP this is. Well, like it basically what it does when it comes to a lane, like you get it as an item. You get it as an item, it replaces your ward, so no warding. This is the new eye. You don't need a ward when you have this sucker running down your lane. So this is basically like an early game Baron. Like I can't imagine a scenario with its current state where it pushes down a lane and it doesn't get like minimum 2 towers. Because what it does, it just charges down the lane, boom, hits the turret for like half its health, or like a third. I think it's a third, right? 1,400 out of 3,500. That's like a yeah, that's like a third, less than a third. Uh, and and you're like, is it less than a third? No, it's not less than a third. It's more than a third. Uh, you it just walks down the lane, smashes its head against the turret, and hits it, and has 6,000 health, and it's really hard to kill. And your enemies need to poke him in the eye, and you can decide when it goes. Like I thought it would just run down the lane, and not give a fuck. Like like Heroes of the Storm, where you just kill a camp and they just walk down. Sure, you can pop it at the right time, and they can walk down the lane, and you can do all that kind of shenanigans. But this is legit. You have an item, you put it on the lane whenever you want to. I'm sure you'll have like a time frame where you have to work with it, like 45 seconds or some shit. But nevertheless, seems super powerful, and I'm really excited because. Uh, I feel like in a competitive game, if a team will get Rift Herald, the game should be over in a lot of cases. That's what I'm foreseeing. So I think we'll have a lot of bloodiness in the start. I think a lot of emphasis on bot lane, right? People will think, oh, you need to need to have a strong top lane and focus on top lane. No, no, no. Focus on bot lane, uh, pressure the first tower, make a swap play into top side. You need more men to kill this sucker, and eventually people will commit to fight for this one. I think uh, the important thing to note is I think if a team is doing Rift Herald and uh, uh, even if you're ahead, you can't just force it in front of their face, right? If the enemy team is aware, you're still going to probably die while doing this one because he's a tough motherfucker to kill, right? With that in mind, I'm excited about this. I think we will see a lot of situations where enemy bot lanes or bot lanes in general will look to swap into top side to contest this because if you get caught off guard and you have less manpower on top side and all of a sudden they have a Rift Herald pushing, it might get tough. But I think there's also scenarios where as long as you have Rift Herald information, it takes a long time to kill him. So even if, let's say, there is a swap situation and the enemy team went to top side, they had priority, you're pushing bottom, and you have information on Rift Herald, and you can just send your support up there. Your AD is still pushing, and you can probably be there in time because Rift Herald takes a shit long time to kill. With that in mind, I'm excited. I think it's definitely a more useful one. Like the previous Rift Herald was so boring. I was like, some games it's completely useless, does nothing, and then in some games and some top lane matchups, it's like, oh, he has Rift Herald, so I can't beat him in Subtush for 20 minutes. Fun. So this is definitely a step in the right direction, according to me. Looking forward, though we got plenty to talk about with mid-season itself, we want to take a quick moment to comment on 3 of the projects coming later in the year. Honor update. Yay! We're currently working on a significant overhaul to the honor system due to ship later this year. The current honor system does not really reinforce how valuable teamwork is. The new system is designed to be much more integrated with the actual experience of the game. So it's like if a lot of people were toxic, you're getting like a toxic badge that is a common experience in the game. Featuring greater incentives and rewards for players who are consistently honorable. For honor. 10 bans. When the 10 ban format comes to regular play, it will look different than what you've been seeing in the pro scene. There are some fundamental differences in how bans are used between the two scenarios, so we'll be adapting the system based on the needs of match-made games. In the regular play system, we want to make sure we give all players equal agency. Everyone gets a ban. Yay, everyone gets a ban. Everyone gets everything. We're so nice. While keeping champion select fair, where it doesn't matter where you end up in the pick order. If possible, we'll also be cutting down on champion select's overall length. Yes, yes, yes. Expect to see more shortly after mid-season. Once 10 bans launches, you'll need to own 20 or more champions to play ranked, up from 16. We'll be running an IP boost weekend very soon to give you the chance to make up the difference. Team competition. Playing League with friends and normals or ranked flex is one thing, but we think there's an opportunity to add a new competitive experience into League, one different from the now retired ranked teams queue. We want organized teams to compete for rewards, but include and appeal to players of all skill levels. Think something along the lines of forming a team with your friends and entering an amateur tournament together, where the stakes, intensity, and rewards are ramped way up. Way up! We are still working out exactly what this looks like, so stay tuned. I'm not going anywhere, right? We'll have more to share regarding these features as we move into the second half of 2017. In the meantime, we get ready for mid-season. Thanks for joining us for today's look into what's next for League. Mid-season Invitational. The spring split champions from all 13 regional leagues will face off in the 2017 Mid-season Invitational beginning April 28th. Okay, cool. I think that's about it. Uh, I think I went through it all, yeah. I think what we're looking at here is we're getting prepared for a Cinderhulk era. If they execute it right, like you know, we have had Cinderhulk eras, we've had Assassins eras. Maybe this time, with the experience that Riot has from past mistakes. I don't want to sound too harsh. It happens. Balancing. There's always going to be something that is OP or not OP, but the flavor of the month. This is what people play, and it's a tough thing to do. This balancing thing, right? But hopefully, like ideally, we will have a world where you have vegetarian junglers, and carnivore junglers in the same world, and hopefully it will work. That's what I'm hoping for. So until next time, I'll see you guys. Thank you very much for watching the entire thing. This was 42 minutes of mid-season preview. It was a pretty big one. Thank you very much. Peace.